So this is recitation 1. I'm going to work out the solutions for each one. So let's see 1a. So we want to simplify inside the parentheses first. So inside the parentheses, we have a. The numerator will have a power 2. We're going to do 2 minus 4. The denominator has power 4. So 2 minus 4, that's negative 2. And negative 2, a raised by negative 2. So this is difficult for me to write it. A raised by negative 2, right? And b raised by 3 minus negative 5. That would be b raised by 8. Then outside, we still have a raised by negative 2. Then we can distribute the power negative 2. So negative 2 times negative 2. So the power of a becomes positive 4. And negative 2 times a, 2 layers of exponents, we multiply them, raised by negative 16. So the answer is a to the 4th power divided by b to the 16th power, because b raised by negative 16 means goes into the denominator. All right, so I'm going to write the answer. Use this pencil. So the answer for the first one will be a raised by 4 divided by b raised by 16. You may have different ways of getting this answer, but as long as you get this same answer, you're good. The second one, let me type. So inside we have x raised by negative 4, x squared. And outside we have raised by 3, right? And the inside we also have b term, we have c term. So for the x term, what we could do is, probably we could do this. Let's only consider the x term. Let's focus on x first. X raised by negative 4, we can move to the denominator to combine with x squared. Then we would get x raised by 6. Then x raised by 6, outside we have raised by 3. So 3 times 6, we get x raised by 18 in the denominator. For b term, we have b raised by 3. Then outside we have raised by 3 again. 3 times 3, that's 9. So b to the 9th power. For c, we have c raised by 3 in the denominator. 3 times 3, that's also 9. So the solution for b, the answer for b should be b raised by 9 in the numerator, x raised by 18, c raised by 9 in the denominator. Let me erase this. So the second one, we want to put it in to a factored form for the denominator. So I'm only going to factor the denominator for now, then write the numerator back. So the first one we can factor it as x minus 3, x plus 1. And the second denominator, I'm going to leave some space. We can factor it as x minus 3, x plus 2. Then we see the common denominator of those two. So least the common denominator or multiple of those two. Has to include all the factors. Is those 3 factors, x minus 3, x plus 1, and x plus 2. Right? So this is the least common denominator of those 2 terms. So then the first one we want to multiply by 1. This one is x plus 2 divided by x plus 2. So we need to have, so for the numerator, the numerator we have 5x for the first term plus 1 times x plus 2. And we have a common denominator now, right? For the second term, we have 5x minus 3 times, we're missing x plus 1 for the second term. So that's our numerator. That's our numerator. And our denominator is these 3 terms. Let me move here. And maybe I can. Yeah, okay. So this is our denominator. Then this is our numerator. And now let's calculate our numerator. We have 5x, so the first 5x times x, we have 5x squared. Then plus 2 times 5x, 10x, plus 1x, 11x for middle term, plus 1 times 2, which is 2. Then minus, let's give a parenthesis because we're subtracting 3 terms, 5x squared. Then we have minus 3x, 5x, that's plus 2x. Then 1 times -3, that's -3. So this is our numerator. We're subtracting. So 5x squared minus 5x squared, so this term is gone. 11x minus 2x, that becomes 9x, right? So change this to be 9x, this is gone. 2 minus -3 becomes 2 plus 3 becomes 5. So the numerator now we have 9x plus 5. So this becomes 9x plus 5. And denominator is the same. Okay, so the numerator, after we simplify those two, we get 9x plus 5. So the answer for 2 is 9x plus 5 in the numerator. The denominator will have those 3 factors, x minus 3, x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, let's move on to the next question. We want to simplify these radicals. So this one, we want to write it as x raised by 2/3. Okay, so fraction exponents. So the power is in the numerator. The index, this is called index in the denominator. And multiply by, we know when we multiply by the same base, we add the exponents. So the second one we write as x raised by 1/3. Or 3/2, because the index is 2. By default, this index is 2. So plus 3/2. I don't know what happened with this. What is this? Where does this come from? Plus 3/2. Oh my goodness, it's so difficult for me to write it. Okay, maybe use 3/2. So then we just add these two fractions. We multiply 2/2 for the first fraction. We get a 4/6. And multiply 2/2, 3/3 for the second one. So we have a 9/4. 9 plus 4, we have 13/4. Or 13/6. 13/6. 13 can be split as 12 plus 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So we get x squared. And then we're left with 1/6. 1/6 for the power of x. That means it's x in 6 root. So the index is 6 because the denominator is the index. So the answer for 3a is x squared and the 6th root of x. For b, we see the index is the same. So we can put them together under the same one index 4. Then inside we have x cubed divided by x squared. That's just x. Right? So we get a 4th root of x. That's for b. The eraser. Okay, let's see next question. So 4, simplify this. Simplify these radicals. Here we have Because all this by default is square root. Okay, by default the index is just 2. So we have, let me type 5 times 2, because 8, square root of 8 is 2 radical 2. So 2 times 5, I get a 10. 10, the x, 1x comes out. Y squared, because y to the 6, right? Y to the 7 can be split into y to the 6 times y. 6 divided by 2, that's 3. Y raised by 3. Then this is the outside. So inside, we have 2 left, we have x left, we have y left. So let me put in the square root sign. Right? Why did I get a 10? Because 8, square root of 8 is 2 radical 2. So 2 times 5, that's 10. X cubed is x squared times x. X squared square root comes out, become x. Y to the 7 can be split as y to the 6 times y. Y to the 6 square root becomes y to the cube. Then 2 and xy left inside. Okay, for the second one, we do the same. Square root of 18 is 3 radical 2, because 18 is 9 times 2. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 7, that's 21. So 21, x raised by 5 can be split as x to the 4th power times x. So we get an x squared out, and then we get a y out. What's left inside? Over 2xy. Y is 3x, so 2xy. So let me put it in the radical signs. Okay, this is subtraction. Now we see we do have like radicals. When we combine radicals, adding or subtracting, we need like radicals. So those two indeed are like radicals, both are square root of 2xy. And we can put their coefficients together. So what do we have? We can write as 10xy cubed minus 21x squared y. Then square root of 2xy. Let me put square root in. And that's it. So this should be the answer for 8. All right, the radical is just square root of 2xy. For B, similarly, we want to simplify the radicals, then to see if we have like radicals. Square root of 44 is square root of 4 times square root of 11. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 3, that's 6. So get a 6 square root of 11y. So similarly, square root of 9 times square root of 11y, well, which is a 3, 11y. Let me put the radicals in. 6 radical 11y, 3 radical 11y. 11y square root, so like radicals. We can combine them. How do we combine them? We add their coefficient. 6 plus 3, that's 9. So we get a 9 radical 11y. Right, that's 4b. Let's say 5. Oops, 5. 5 we want to rationalize the denominator because the irrational numbers in the denominator. Irrationals means it doesn't really make sense to us. So what do? We multiply by its conjugate. Its conjugate is the square root of 3 minus square root of 2. Divides itself. So basically we multiply by 1. And this one is the square root of 3 minus the square root of 2. Because by difference of 2 squares, the denominator we get square root of 3 squared, which is just 3, minus the square root of 2 squared, which is just 2. 3 minus 2 equals 1. So the denominator becomes 1. And the numerator we just distribute. We multiply those two, we multiply those two. right? We multiply 4 radical 6 with radical 3. Radical 6 is radical 2 times radical 3. Then we get a radical 3 squared, which becomes 3. So we get 12 radical 2. When we multiply the first two terms, the first two. Now we multiply 4 radical 6 with radical 2. Then radical 2 times radical 2 becomes squared, becomes 2. So 2 times 4, that's 8. Minus 8. Then we have radical 3 left. And that's it. That's the answer for this one, or 5. So simplify, becomes 12 radical 2 minus 8 radical 3. Or dividing by 1. Dividing by 1, we don't need to write dividing by 1. Now let's see 6, last one. Let me erase this. Six is absolute value of it. So we want to solve this equation, absolute value equation. So first we want to subtract 2 from both sides. 8 subtract 2 becomes 6. Now this equation gives us two cases. So the first case is the inside is positive. So if inside is positive, absolute value of the positive is positive. So first case. Then we solve. So we just get 3x minus 1. If it's positive, just equals positive 6. Then we solve for x, right? We get 3x, add a 1 on both sides. 3x equals 7. Then we divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals to 7 divided by 3. So the first solution. The second solution is if it's negative, right? If 3x minus 1 is negative, that means 3x minus 1 equals to negative 6. Because if it's a negative 6, after absolute value, it becomes positive 6. Then we solve this equation. So we get a 3x with plus 1 on both sides. Negative 6 plus 1, then negative 5. Then we divide by 3 on both sides. So x equals to negative 5 divided by 3. And that's it. That's our first recitation worksheet.